very clear, very focused, and very aggressive about how we do that, and spectacularly transform that area. It does start with the gallery on the north side of the street, but the south side is no bargain either.
Well, you know, this is the wet wood analogy. We've got a big pile of wet wood. We just got to get it to catch fire, and whether it's here or here. So the gallery is certainly a big deal, and as you know, the thing that has been problematic. There's been many things that are problematic, but the one that we've been working on very hard is to get the ownership arrangements straightened out. And that we're about to have success on that one. That's the access to private capital. I think we're going to see something happen there. I think there's another site along Market Street where something's about to pop. I actually have a meeting about it tomorrow. Any one of those things happens will induce the other one to happen, and I think the gallery in many ways was the long-term cause of the demise of the south side of the street. Its improvement is going to be the long-term cause of the improvement of the other side of the street.
Well, let's hit some new wood.
Driveway.
Driveway. I'm not going to read this, other than to just go right to the bottom here about the great sort of opportunity in front of us is, you know, this is again, I sometimes think, I've lived here for 37 years now and have always been kind of amazed at how we don't appreciate the assets that exist here or sort of understand completely what this city is, what it can be. It's a city of tremendous assets, yeah, particularly on the side of poverty. There's some significant liabilities and challenges, but huge assets that we don't have a good enough story around.
Well, I think that as we move forward, and what I want to give is, I think we're about to kind of wrap up. My main focus and the main takeaway, I think, today is that we need to put ourselves in a position where we, over the course of the next few years, do what we do, and then I want to stop talking about what we can be and put us in a position where we can talk about what we are.
Right. This is what we're doing.
You cannot live on potential forever. You know, your career, I mean, you know, a lot of folks come into whatever league they come into and talk about so-and-so has a lot of potential. You know, if you hang around for about, 10, 15 years, your potential is over and your career is over. You cannot live on potential. You either did it or you didn't. And I think all the elements are here, and we have to put ourselves in a position where people are talking about what actually happened, not talking about what we've been talking about might happen.
Some of those things will happen this month. Some of those things will happen this month, right?
Mm-hmm. We'll see some of them this month. And I think the other piece of it is also stop talking about what happened, but the legacy. The legacy is great. City of history, fabulous thing, city of first, but let's talk about city of right now.
Yeah. And the future. So, I know we had a couple data requests, which I'm sure we didn't catch it. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Capital access to support more entrepreneurship in the city. Those, one person hiring 2 more people, the 5-person, 10-person businesses don't get a lot of time and attention on the front page of a variety of papers. You get enough of them going, and you make something happen. So, I don't, for a moment in this conversation, want to be singularly focused, but there are a couple of big sectors that really do drive activity. Hospitality is one. Education, medicine, and are a number of others.
And I'll also throw in, we're not devoid of manufacturing.
No.
There's it's God knows it's not like it was 50 years ago. lot of specialty manufacturing going on, and one of the, I think, great successful initiatives in the public sector through the state and through a lot of the friends of the city was with Auckland Shipyard. That's heavy manufacturing. That's like the major league real thing. But there's a lot of stuff that also fits into that kind of manufacturing world that we don't typically think of as big time manufacturing, big mass product manufacturing. A lot of stuff in food services, for example, that you know about.
Tofu.
Right? Huh? Tofu, right.
Largest tofu manufacturer,
One
right?
of the premier tofu manufacturers in the United States, at least on the East Coast, is sitting here at the corner of 7th and Fairmount.
What's that?
What's
Chris
doesn't know about that. Can't put him in the cheesesteak.
Some people do.
I've seen you eat that.
I like tofu. Just for the business that's here, I like it, I enjoy the product.
But, it's an expanding business. They need our help in figuring out how to grow. They're constrained. Right across the street is a pretty serious millworking shop. And these things are out there. And when, you've heard Gary Steyer talk about who had a baby, right?
Right, I know.
Because you didn't mention it in any of the press conferences yet, so I was waiting.
Gary's helping us with our population.
Population
Congratulations.
He talks about the creative economy, but a lot of those people are also actually in the manufacturing business that's often the artisan scale, but sometimes have people working for them too, building stuff.
And again, so that kind of goes back to this slide 20, which is figuring out how to get more Philadelphians in those jobs as well. I mean, when we talk about on the education side, we say, well, go to college. The reality is, of course, we understand that, college may not be for everyone, but learning is for everyone. And you have to figure out what is that new skill set, what does that change for you that's going to allow you to be able to go into that plant. This is not like 50 years ago and you just kind of show up and do what everyone else does. Very sophisticated equipment, very technical, some dangerous. If you can't read the instructions, you're going to hurt yourself or hurt someone else. And so, there's a tour of a plant. They make the piping for conduit, fencing, cyclone fences, and all this other kind of stuff, the tubing that goes around windows, major manufacturing here in Philadelphia. I believe they supply pretty much all the product east of the Mississippi. That's in Philadelphia. They're doing a fantastic job up there. 3 shifts of workers, every color under the rainbow, folks making money, and it's happening here in Philadelphia. And, manufacturing is still a significant industry here in the city, and those are great jobs too.
Yeah, last week, we all heard about Tasty Cake. Last week I was out at Amoroso Bakery out in West Philly, and it's a major league operation.
Yeah.
Takes you back to the cheesesteaks.
To go back to the cheesesteaks. They didn't say anything about putting tofu in cheesesteaks either, but
Okay.
we'll get past that. So a couple of, we won't go into these in a lot of detail, but a couple of case studies to demonstrate a couple of points. Flip the slide. Okay. So this first one about Honey Park. Honey Park, interesting case study because here's a piece of real big-time Philadelphia industrial might, bud plant, making rail cars all over the place. They don't exist anymore. And this thing has become a kind of geographic hole in the donut between a lot of neighborhoods, East Falls, Lower Germantown, Tioga, and they never get to join. So it's partly a story of opportunism. We have the great good fortune, actually through you, Mayor, when you were council member, to get the Kroc Center situated in this place, which is, I think, going to make good, is already and will continue to make an enormous difference. So there's an opportunity. A plan by the Planning Commission involving all of those neighborhoods and a coalition that the neighborhoods formed amongst themselves to help guide what a plan ought to look like. And now the result is assistance in getting the Tasty Cake site sold so that it could be redeveloped as the thing that they all wanted, which was first and foremost a supermarket. We've got Jeff Brown ShopRite under lease will be moving ahead, sites being cleared. So what we're seeing is the net effect of a good piece of opportunity combined with a lot of work in planning and in commerce, and actually directly through my Chief of Staff, Brian Flanagan, to help facilitate a set of transactions that are now leading to the right thing happening. We now see other businesses that are showing up that are wanting to sort of use some of these old industrial buildings, and discussions are now moving forward about, a better future for some of the SEPTA land that they don't use, certainly the EPI site that needs to be reconsidered once the juvenile detention center is out of there. And I think it's a really good example of multiple agencies creating a vision and a guideline.
Right. Started go through a fantastic revitalization. Park Center helped to start it, but Baker Square is going to do a tremendous job over there.
Yeah, I think so too. At both a different scale and for somewhat different reasons, Central Delaware we'll know about. So what's the lesson there? I mean, here's this vast, it's not just the Central Delaware, we come around the whole, just follow the rivers. We have a lot of former industrial sites that were part of our riverfront economy that dates back to colonial times. The Central Delaware, the subject of numerous vision statements, public-private partnerships, a new master plan, and mostly, I think, an agency that was reorganized specifically to sort of take the stewardship of this thing and drive it and make it happen. So I think it's a great example of we need, whether it's organizations and ultimately individuals, to push these things. And which one are you pointing to?
The last one.
Okay.
The timeline there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little out of order.
So that is a lot of order, thanks. But the need to push these plans to get them into realization, and it's something that you heard really through the OBS side and through Fran. We need people who can basically take a subject, whether it's a business sector that Curtis is dealing with, or kind of a single source to talk to at licenses and inspection. Same thing is true sort of at the commerce level, where we need project managers to basically guide these things, not just through our regulatory system, but actually to help push them into being. These projects in a bad economy don't happen by themselves. They happen because we prod them into existence. That's what the Waterfront Corporation does on Central Delaware. That's what my office has helped do in Honey Park. And we're going to talk about this again in a minute. But if you go into the next slide, it was sort of another interesting example, more neighborhood-based. We've got a number of commercial corridors in Resurgence. Baltimore Avenue is a good example, where there's a whole host of services that run through the Office of Neighborhood Economic Development under, again, Kevin and Karen Fagley. Local knowledge of the businesses, coordinating with Curtis's operation, streetscape improvements, greenery improvements, coordination with both streets and water, technical assistance to corridor managers. This is all offered through commerce in districts throughout the city, and Baltimore Avenue is a great example where we're seeing real success. The resurgence of what historically had been a strong commercial corridor got kind of on the ropes. Was actually my old commercial corridor for many years. It's just fantastic to see. And I think you pointed out earlier, Mayor, fueled in a very large part by West African